because otherwise we won't pick.
Ladies, gentlemen, those neither and in between, welcome to day one of Twitchcon San Diego 2024. Thank you so much for giving them such a warm welcome. I'm going to let you guys take it away from here, and you'll see me a little bit later on for the Q&A.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Perfect. Very excited to be here. Thank you very much for coming along. I'm going to be your host, asking all the questions to these wonderful 5 panelists. We're going to be diving into the area of Minecraft and storytelling and cinematics and animatics, what can go right, what can go wrong sometimes, and common pitfalls to avoid, and general just advice, because we love storytelling and we want to see more people get into it. So consider this a very brief masterclass on everything related to that. Kicking us off, let's start all the way at the end with a name that you would prefer to be called, either your name or your handle or whatever, and your most proud project that you've been in. Doesn't have to be the biggest, doesn't have to be the longest, just something that is near and dear to your heart. And we'll start this way and then work along.
Hi. I'm messing. Hi, I'm Crow. I would say my favorite project that I've worked on was probably Portals, because it was just a playground for me, so very close to my heart. Hi, guys.
Moving along.
I'm Jake. I think my favorite project that I probably put the most into was probably the Caboodle SMP, because it just took it took a lot of everything from me, in a good way.
Hello, I'm Gucky. I think my favorite thing, it's always going to be near and dear to my heart, is probably the Sea Gucky finale that I did, just because I feel like it kickstarted a lot of things for me, so it's got me.
Hello, I'm Amesy. Hello, everyone. Hi! I go by all pronouns, and one of my favorite things that I've ever created was probably the Amesy finale. I was going to say the Sea Gucky finale. Shut up. The Amesy finale, or my recent passion project, which was ASMP. It was very, very cool. I had a good time, and that was about it.
Hello, I'm Appo. I feel like this is a really bad thing to say, but all of my projects are my children, and you can't really have a favorite child, and if you do,
Yes, you can. You definitely can.
somebody said yes, you can. Don't have children. No, I like them all.
Crazy start, by the way.
Yeah, that's wild.
So, sorry. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Orange Juice TV. Hello. There's been a lot of projects that we've been involved in. Obviously, I love all of them equally. But if I were to say one, New Life SMP would be way up there for me. Sparrow's story is very near and dear to my heart. Speaking of stories, we have a short video that we normally do at the beginning of all of our panels, and we're going to jump into that now, which is just going to give you a whistle-stop lore tour, a bunch of stuff that we've been involved in, and our favorite moments from there. So let's begin now.
You knew from the beginning you had lightning in your veins, which attracted monsters from every realm. You were quite popular. You never wanted to destroy your world. You only wanted to destroy yourself.
The ones that I was meant to care for. I'm sorry, Rice. You didn't deserve to die alone.
Magic? Magic!
Please stop. It can't be like this. Cap, it's okay.
We all know you're nothing more than a pathetic little puppet.
You used me. You used me. This has gone too far, which is why I've set this whole place to ignite like a tinderbox. I beg of you, do not open the gate. Let this be my tomb.
Yesterday was, it was alright.
I mean, everything went wrong.
You said yesterday that it was imperfect. You said it was our perfect.
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Yeah, be honest. Go ahead.
I hated it.
You are a disease on the face of this earth, and I am its cure.
I would hate to lose you, Apple.
I'd hate to lose you too, buddy.
You know what'd be a greater idea,
What?
Apple? Say goodbye, buddy.
No! What are you doing?
It's a ratty wound.
Stop!
It's a ratty wound.
But I'm the real version. You're just a copy of myself that I made to fill her place. You are nothing more than a copy of me.
You guys know what Kyle F?
Yeah, I know Kyle.
We love you, Kyle. Okay, so that was a very quick summary of a lot of different projects that we've all been in. But now we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into all of those with some group questions. Just so you know, to prepare you for the ending of this panel, there's going to be a 15-minute window where you can come up to the microphones that'll be stationed around here and ask questions yourself. Obviously, it's a little bit scary being the first one up, but once you do, it usually ends up being quite a long queue. So have a question ready now if you want one, and anything that you're curious about, you can pick our brains over at the end. So starting us off, we're going to start with Appa and work our way down this way. Starting right back at the beginning, how did you start with storytelling or creating Minecraft events of any kind?
Afmo.
Yeah?
I used to watch a lot of her stuff when I was like in middle school, and I would create like little sets on high pixel housing and stuff, and we'd tell stories through that. But more recently, I was invited to Outsiders SMP and wrote for that with Owen, and we did cool things.
Go ahead.
Hello. The way that I got started with story writing and Minecraft is I was a very big fan of this thing called the Mayanite Project, which was like a really old SMP back in the day. And I also grew up watching Adventure Time. You wouldn't guess it. You would not guess it when you look at me. Yeah, no, I love Adventure Time, yeah. And I love the stories of that. And then eventually I got invited to an SMP in 2021. And now I'm here making gay roleplay, so I don't really... Thank you. Speaking of gay roleplay.
So from like the age of 13, I was writing fan fiction. And then COVID happened and Minecraft blew up. So I was like, why not do it in there? You know? And then I got invited to the same SMP this one got invited to. Yeah. And then, I went on from there.
I used to make my own content, and then I when I started just kind of meeting more people and realizing that I actually like helping other people make their own things, then I just kind of went on from there and just kept helping everyone and just went less away from making my own things and just kind of expanding my like reach in the space.
Nice.
Okay, buckle up, because this is insane. I think I was like 8 when I first got Minecraft, and my parents didn't let me play multiplayer. Shout out internet safety. So I instead learned how to install mods. And there was one called Minecraft Comes Alive, where the villagers get personalities and you can like marry them and like have kids and stuff. So I installed that one, and for some reason I only played on flat worlds. So I went onto super flat worlds, found villagers, and made up lore with these villagers. Like, I would find one that I thought was pretty, and I would talk to her, and then I would marry her, or him. Or they. Or, yeah, I'll stop. And then I would have kids with these, with these villagers, and then they'd go missing, and I'd have to find.
What? I get it, because I used to do something similar with Lilith's Pet Shops.
Yes, it's basically that, but Minecraft, so that's where I came from.
What an origin story. That's crazy. Obviously, we all stream on Twitch, and we do a lot of our SMP stuff on there. How would you say, starting with you, Crow, and working our way backwards, how would you say storytelling from a live streaming perspective is different from that of like pre-recorded media where you would upload it onto the site? Obviously, you have a mix, I think. Your approach can sometimes differ. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and expand upon it?
Well, other than the pre-recorded stuff I do, I think the thing with live streaming is that you got one shot. Like, you can't be like, wait, chat, actually, I take that back. Hold on, take 2 steps. I've never done that, by the way. It's definitely just whatever you say with, you got to run with. Like, if you slip up and say something that wasn't originally canon, good luck to you. Figured it out. And sometimes just side-eyeing the chat and just being like, oh, they think it's this. That's more fun. Let's just make it that. Like, just changing it on the spot, I think, is really unique to live streaming. So,
Jake, what about you?
I think that it's, as you said, it's all one take. There's no going back and changing things. So it's being prepared and kind of knowing exactly what you want to do going into it, but also being able to improvise and adapt on the fly. So if something does go wrong, you have a backup plan and a backup plan for your backup plan, and just so that way the story can keep going and it doesn't get interrupted for the audience.
Are we supposed to have backup plans?
So a lot of my lore stuff I do stream, but I pre-record it because I like to do fancy transitions and make people get jump scared and stuff. But with the live streaming aspect, with the one take thing, I've had so many bloopers. We've had so many bloopers.
I'm professional.
Okay, so that one time when we were gonna pretend to break up in a Minecraft server and you kept on making me laugh and we had to keep on redoing it.
I didn't know this was a confessional. I wasn't aware that I was going to get attacked. Okay, my bad.
But yeah, I think it's a lot of a challenge, but it does make it really funny when there is bloopers, especially when it's something really serious. And then you just laugh and it's hard to do it back again.
Honestly, the aspect of Twitch streaming is one of my favorite things when it comes to Minecraft lore. And the main reason I love it all being live, especially even if it's pre-recorded content, there is nothing more satisfying than seeing the audience you've created live react to everything you're doing. Because of course, you can put it somewhere and they can watch it in their own time. But there is something so beautiful about being able to see so many people and so many faces unveil this story in real time. And like one of my favorite things to do is after I've done a story online, and same with Gucky, we will just spend hours just going through what everyone thought, and we're like, oh, they caught that little detail that I didn't think they were gonna get. And it's like, I don't know, that's one of my favorite things about doing it on live, is because of that.
That's nice.
We literally have like a channel in the Discord usually where we just like freak out over things people are talking about and stuff afterwards. It's so great. To kind of like expand on what Crow said, it like reminded me of when one of our events broke on the Rats SMP. Cats were supposed to, Owen remembers this very, very fondly. Cats were supposed to duplicate, and instead that didn't work, and they started to cannibalize each other. Not an intended gameplay feature. So instead, we had a couple of like admins, and including me, just become different sized cats, and we would chase around the rats as like elephant-sized cats, and it was absolutely atrocious. But just having that live aspect of it, like we couldn't just like say like, okay guys, wait, we're gonna come back in an hour. We had to do something, and to me that's just the greatest thing ever.
That's a big fun part of it.
No, it's
kind of thinking on your feet. Okay, so assuming that we've spoken a little bit about our favorite things and our favorite parts of it with the stories that we've been creating, but obviously it all has to start from somewhere. And for the general audience, just so we can get an idea of how you guys approach that, you're sat, let's say, blank page, you want to create something new, or maybe it just kind of comes to you. What's your approach in creating new stories or writing narratives from scratch, or like how do you develop those ideas into something that ends up being the finished product that people see? Starting with you, Apo.
Oh.
And jumped on you, sorry.
My brain works.
Just all there.
No, okay, like I just sit in my room for like an hour and then something comes up and then like I just think like, oh, well, this other thing that kind of works could go work with this. Or maybe I think of like common tropes in like the genre or something and like try to find a cool spin to it. And I just keep adding on like little things that kind of pop up over like a week or two. And then eventually I have a fully formed idea. Or trash. But it's fine.
I like to do this thing called getting obsessed with media, and then I tend to be so unbelievably creative, especially when I'm fixating on something. Like, for example, when I was going through, like, I love the show Arcane, and I was really, and it's funny because I rewatched it recently, and then I was like, I need to create a Minecraft lore about this. Like, I'm creative as heck, and I feel like that's a normal thing. I get creative by watching other creatives. I love being being able to find passion in myself by watching other people do it. I think it's a good way to be creative, is, from someone else and get inspired.
My brain works in a very visual way, so I usually start with okay, this is gonna sound really weird, and I don't know if this makes sense to people, but I want to make something visually that will inspire other artists to make things visually because I draw a lot. And I scroll through Pinterest sometimes and I'm like, ooh, this is really cool. And then I stem a whole story based off that. And a lot of my visual stuff, for example, the ARG, I do it in a way that I think a lot of artists will like to draw it. Like the tree, I'm like, oh, that tree would be fun to draw. But I go off visuals a lot of the time, and then everything follows after that naturally. So, yeah.
I kind of do it a completely, entirely different way because I'm more of a technical person when it comes to making stuff. If I come up with an idea or I have an idea brought to me, my first thought is just kind of, how can we technically accomplish this? In game, do we have to make something? Do we have to find something? How can we best tell the story? Just from a very it's a bit more boring, but a very technical perspective. Just how do we do it?
So I go to a dark room and I lie on the floor like a starfish and shut my eyes. And sometimes music accompanies this experience. Depending on if I'm looking for something specific. I remember for Pirates SMP, when I had to make Cuervo, I was heavily inspired by Puss in Boots because I just watched it and I was like, I need to be Puss in Boots. And this is my excuse. So sometimes there is inspiration, but most of the time, find a dark room, lie in a starfish pose, and maybe it'll come to you. Or maybe do those. Those sound a bit more sane, actually. Maybe don't do them.
Top tips. Just to add into what they're saying as well, a lot of the approaches that sometimes I've done that I've found work if you're struggling is trying to find a specific moment and framing the narrative around that singular point. For example, in Outsiders, you can probably guess what the penny drop moment for my character was. I came up with that at the very beginning, 9 months before it happened, and tried to just figure out how best to reach that spot. Sometimes if you're stuck with narrative writing, figuring out where you want to go and trying to chart a path through to that can help you out a little bit. And that was for a cinematic, which was a lot of fun to do and reveal, especially seeing it all live. And with cinematics comes a lot of work, but you guys have done a lot of cinematics. Crow, you did a lot for Pirates specifically. Do you want to tell us how it was, how do you go about creating those animatics or cinematics? What's your approach to that kind of structure?
So a lot of the time when I want to shove in animatics, it's because it's something that I can so vividly imagine, but I'm like, I can't do this in Minecraft. You have to know your limits sometimes with blocks. So I storyboard things, and I go, okay, where does it start? Where does it end? How do I transition into this? So it's not just like, here's me on a ship. Okay, here's my backstory. So you have to kind of figure out the beginning and the end. A lot of the time I just storyboard it. God bless my artist, Kaloy2 on Twitter. Because I send them the most horrific storyboards. They should never leave those DMs, and then they make art. So, yeah.
Do you have a cinematic or animatic that you're most proud of, or that was hardest to do for you over your career so far?
Hardest?
Yeah, sure, either or.
I think the meltdown from Outsiders, the opening one from where it's like, oh my God, he's alive. If you know, you know. And my final Pirates one, where my character's backstory is revealed, which was 6 minutes long. I had to edit the whole thing. I had to find voice actors. Yeah, I think the Pirates finale one, which is the most recent one I made. So,
what about you, Jake? From a technical standpoint, was there anything that you had to work on where you were kind of really pushing the limits of what you'd done before?
A lot of the times when it's when I'm making cinematic, it's because it's something you can't just do regularly in Minecraft. So it's kind of just trying to think, what's the most out of the box way I can accomplish this to kind of make it be more unique and not something that you've seen before. Because if you're doing a cinematic, you want it to be special. You want it to kind of stand out because that means it's probably a pretty important part of the story. So it's just trying to establish how the best way to go about it is.
Nice, great.
So I do a similar thing that Crow does where I storyboard out stuff and then I'll imagine it as if it is a manga where someone's turning the page and stuff. So I want each frame to be like a page turner type thing. And then I transfer that into doing it in Minecraft. And if I can't do it in Minecraft, I'll just draw it and hope for the best.
Is it the cinematic I'm most proud of, right? Or just how my
essentially, either your approach or cinematic that you're most proud of, or the hardest one that you had to do.
Honestly, like I said earlier, ASMP, which is a passion project of mine, the finale was like 40 minutes long and it was all cinematic. And it was challenging. But the way that I literally not forced myself, but I had it all in my head. And I was like, I need to make this real. How do I do this? And my process is a bit different to these because what I do is I set myself a deadline. And then the day before, I get it done because I'm awful when it comes to I have to give myself like a fake deadline sometimes and convince myself it's tomorrow. And I'm like, no, you need to get this done. And then I work the best under pressure. Don't do it. Do not work under pressure. You will lose your mind.
Let's work under pressure.
No. Sleep is more worth it. No. What about you, Apple?
Ooh. Hey, remember when you perished?
Oh my God, love that.
Oh yeah. So you too, by the way. So the pirates starting cinematic or whatever at the end of the first stream is my favorite, not from a technical standpoint.
It was so good.
But more so just from like a setting the stage kind of thing. I think it worked very well to kind of present pirates as a very ominous kind of mysterious series and stuff, and I really liked that. Sorry.
You know you've ruined my community with trust now. Anytime I do anything, they're like, "Oh, are you gonna die the first day?" Spoilers. And I'm like, "No, guys, please. I'm sorry."
We would never do it twice.
No.
No, yeah,
can we
totally not.
Can we?
Yeah, I don't know. We have to see. Before we jump into some individual questions before the Q&A, one last group question for you guys. Might have to make this one slightly faster and kind of condense it down. Advice, sort of pearls of wisdom for starting out writing if somebody is hasn't done it here before and they're kind of wanting to they've seen the animatics that have happened, they've seen the reactions from the crowd, they want to get involved in that. What do you think is a great place to start, or a piece of knowledge that you've learned either through mistakes or successes that you would pass on to them?
I think the hardest part about writing is not being embarrassed in yourself. Especially sharing with other people. It is really hard, but the only way you're going to progress is by being able to put it out there. So being able to not be embarrassed by what your mind creates is really important.
It's how are you ever going to grow if you don't create anything? One of the biggest advice to any creatives out there in any form of the word, do it. Just keep going and doing it. It's a method, metaphorical method that I've actually learned from you is in sketchbooks you draw with pen so that you can't rub it out. And it's something you should just continue doing with whatever you create. Just keep doing it and don't care about the mistakes. Just go, and just do it. And yeah, you're going to be fine.
I feel that's said once every panel because it's just such good
advice. It is. It's a great way.
Sometimes I talk to people and I ask oh yeah, when was the last time you wrote? And they were like, a year and a half ago. I'm like, oh.
No, you just gotta keep doing
it. Once you start writing, figure out how you're gonna end it. What is your end point and get everything to there. Also, what are your character's motives? Keep those motives simple so you can stick to them. Do not overdo a character. Do not overcomplicate it because it's just going to make more questions for you and people who are reading or indulging in your media.
I think the biggest thing is don't rush it. I know how tempting it is when you get an idea and you're like, I want to do this right now, but then that's how it can kind of fizzle out a bit if you don't fully think it through, fully develop the idea. So think it through, rewrite it all 20 times if you have to, because that's how you'll get the best end product at the end of it.
Do whatever you want, man. Like, if you want to make an edgy character that's like, he has split-dyed hair.
Wait a minute.
I really didn't mean to do that. I wish I was kidding. And his name is X, and he's a failed experiment in a lab. Like, if you want to go full edge mode, just do it. And I actually, don't hate me, I never plan my finales, other than like if the finale is revealing the backstory.
Part. I love knowing if I'm gonna kill my character off in the end or not. Because then I can make it even more sad and like, you know, like I'm currently working on something that I know the ending for and I know how everything's gonna end.
I just love improv too much. All of my characters have been so improvised. Cuervo from Pirates SMP was the only one that I've been like, here, 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 here. Everyone else is just like, I'm gonna spawn into this SMP and just say things, and eventually it'll come together and people will like it, surely. And so far, so good.
That's fair.
So far, so good. My most improvised character remains my most beloved, so, and also the edgiest. So do whatever you want.
Before we jump into the Q&A questions, a couple of individual questions for you guys. Let's go for Amy, Appo, and Crow. You guys have created a lot of series in which you, maybe one or two, in which you are the sole POV that people can watch in order to digest the content from that media. Is there something you learned, like having shouldered that kind of responsibility of being the sole person to communicate that story, that you'd like to share? Or is there like a lesson you learned along the way? Or just like a tidbit of info, I guess? Crow, do you want to kick us off?
Have a guy in the chair. You're live. If something goes wrong, you can't be there. A lot, like all of Portals, which was my single POV, I was like, okay guys, aka cast, you be here, I be here this time, we say this, and then go from there. But if they're not there, or their internet crashes, or I don't know what, you need someone that's gonna back up and like create a plan beyond the spot. So just have a guy.
Nice. Just have a guy.
Have a guy in the chair.
Find one.
Find one. Go ahead.
Honestly, creating a sole POV was one of the coolest experiences of my life. And the reason I did it to begin with is just because of the fact that I like the idea of the audience not being able to tell a character intention only through my POV. And if you were ever going to do it, similar to what Kuro just said, have people you can, like at least one person, just a guy, that you can rely on so that in case everything goes wrong, you're going to be okay.
Nice.
Man, my solo POV thing is basically a hardcore world disguised as me having an existential crisis at 21. So honestly, the hardest part is trying to make sure I time set day to like false every single time I leave, because I'm trying to make it like a 100 days kind of thing. So that's just make sure you're like technically prepared for it.
Nice. Gucky, you have done an ARG.
Yes, I have.
I have no experience in this, so I'm particularly curious as to how you found that, and how did you kind of weave in Minecraft into that concept?
So I wanted to do, okay, this is going to sound really, really dumb. I wanted to do a thing where, do you know that thing where people are like, oh, you lost the game? I wanted to make something around that. So I made an ARG. And I was like, how do I do it? And then I made custom resource packs and stuff like that. So when the POV died in the end, which the POV, oh, okay. I made my community do a survey. And that survey determined the whole ARG. And the whole process of it, I was like, I just wanted the end thing to be, you lost the game. And then through that, I made ARG Gucky, who was a whole like alternate universe character to see Gucky, who jumped off a tower. It was in that little photo there. And it was a whole alternate universe if they didn't die. Spoilers. But it's that whole thing, and it was really fun. But one thing, it made me crazy. I grew up watching game theory and like Gravity Falls and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, chat are gonna know how to solve these things. And they didn't, and I was like, guys, like you just have to like get this URL and go to this and then like decode it and and no one got it, and I went a bit crazy. So make it simple.
Start simple, maybe make it harder in later ones.
Simple, don't yeah.
Jake, I'm going to kick it over to you for our last question before our Q&A. You have a unique perspective that we don't have, that you also work in projects that you are yourself not a part of the like forwards-facing cast for. What has that been like, and how does that kind of differ? How do you, like in your time, being involved in the cast versus being like in a back behind the scenes sort of vibe?
I think it gives you a lot more to think about. I think obviously I'm not speaking from experience, but when you're part of a cast, it's kind of, I feel like you're probably a lot more focused just on telling your story. When I'm not a part of the cast, I have to think about telling everyone's stories and for making sure everyone has the resources they need for all of their stories to be told. So a SMP with 20, 30 people all trying to tell their stories, that like it's on me to make sure that they can all do that, they can all accomplish it. which I think it probably differs a lot from just being the sole, having your story be your sole focus.
Nice, cool. Okay, and with that, we're going to kick into Q&A.
Thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists, please? All right, so if we get some of you lovelies lined up, we've got a microphone here, and we have a microphone over there. Lovely stuff. Fabulous. Thank you so much. We'll get through as many questions as we can. Please don't take it personally if we have to cut some of you guys off. All righty, let's get started. Lovely with the pink shirt over here. Hi, how are you doing?
I am good. I had a question kind of for everyone. You talked about how in Minecraft you kind of got into storytelling and stuff. I was curious about more real life, like your introduction to art, introduction to writing, something like that, to like more the art rather than Minecraft.
Should we start over here?
Yeah. We don't all have to answer it, but if you...
I started making stories like as long as I can remember. I even have like the first little notebook things I wrote. I made a comic about a dog stealing a yogurt and then getting caught and then escaping when I was like 3. Sorry, not 2, 3. So it's just kind of always been in different medias and formats, so forever.
I used to be a theatre kid, so storytelling was always it was always something I did. Used to be through theatre, I used to do writing, and it just kind of slowly developed into being more just in Minecraft, just over time.
I hated going to school as a kid. So when I was like 8 or 9, like I physically couldn't go to school. I was like an anxious little ball of anxiety. And my teacher got me to start drawing. She was like, oh, stay after school and do art. And I was like, no, I'm not staying after school. So during lunches, she got me to do art, and then I got really into it. And then since then, I've just been doing art, and then I got into anime and like a load of games. I've always played games. So it kind of just amalgamated over time, and now I'm this, so.
I love Adventure Time. That's it. Thank you. No, stop it, you guys, stop it.
I also really hated school a lot. Go to school, kids. But there was this one teacher in like 7th grade, I'm gonna call him Mr. Blue, and he ran this like creative course, I guess, for like a semester, and it just went over everything like analyzing paintings, analyzing music, doing like choir, movie analysis, a lot of analyzing, and being able to analyze and like really understand how creativity works inspired me to create. So, it was cool.
I'll tell you after, in the interest of time, so find me afterwards.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, darling with the black mask on. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I had a question. Amesy, you mentioned that you like seeing the chat's reactions to the story you've told. My question for all of you is that do you have a favorite moment where you scared or surprised your chats? Like a moment where you heard people saying that you'll hear from their therapist?
All of it.
All of, oh man. I'd say definitely there was a scene, I'm going to keep this quick for the interest of time. There was a scene in an SMP called Area Unknown SMP, and me and Gucky developed a very horrifying sequence of things that happened over the course of 2 streams. And that was probably the most angry our community have been with us, because it was very upsetting for everyone involved, and it then sparked a lot of upsetting things after, and it was amazing.
Okay, thank you.
When Seagoki jumped off the tower. Owen was in my chat when that happened, and he was like,
I was
no, they're not gonna.
I think reunion for us.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, reunion.
Cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Probably one of my characters eating their dad.
Good times.
Tea.
Thank you so much. All right, lovely with the Minecraft shirt. Hi.
Hi. So I just have a quick question about the creative process you guys take with the 2 forms of media we use in lore, with both the live aspect as well as, I'll call it stored, like YouTube videos. Oh, and I'll call out your New Life series.
Yeah.
How's that creative process in between, knowing it's something that you're building beforehand versus the creative process of building a whole live stream where, you can't really, you have to adapt to everything going on around you?
Yeah, I'll take it. So I think that it's an interesting balance to make because with live stream stuff, you aren't able to like finely tune how you want the story to go. You have to be a lot more open to improv, especially when you're working with other people. When I was creating videos for New Life, everything apart from like obviously the origins and actually playing Minecraft, things could go wrong because it was hardcore. I had to be able to kind of finely tune the narrative to where I wanted it to go. But when you're doing live streaming stuff, you just got to roll with the punches. And I think that's a really exciting part of it. Taking improv lessons, looking into how you can do better improv, I think is a really great way as a streamer to amplify your stories. So yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Darling with the gorgeous green hair. Hi, what's your question?
Hi. So when you guys are streaming, there's sometimes when you guys play on SMPs with what I like to call chaos monkeys. How do you guys stay in character? Like, what tips and tricks do you guys use to stay in character, or like kind of get the story go back to where you want it to be?
You can call him Toby. You can say Tubbo. You can
I was more thinking Ollie.
Oh yeah. Do you guys want to take this?
I mean, I feel like if it's someone like being funny and like adding humor, you kind of just have to roll with it. You can't be like, stop making this entertaining, okay? Start crying. Like, just also kind of laugh, but if you really are trying to gear, just shift over a little bit and find a different space. But let them have fun. Let the chaos monkeys monkey.
Improv is improv.
Yeah, being able to roll with the punches is a big part of it. So yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for your question. Hi, lovely over here with the white shirt. How are you doing? What's your question?
I'm doing good. So as someone who's gonna join a lore SMP in like a month or so, I'm really curious on how the lore stream and scheduling planning works and the events and stuff.
We do it by majority, I think.
We ping at everyone and we say, date 1, date 2, date 3, time 1, time 2, time 3,
and then we continuously push. And then when they don't reply, we ping them again. And then we do it every day until they reply.
Yeah, good luck.
You gotta ping people and hope they show up. And if they don't, well, you're sad.
It is a tricky part of it. Like managing people is a big part of running a lore series. But essentially just having a lot of open times and don't be afraid to like keep pushing them for an answer to get their availability. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, lovely with the cardigan. What's your question?
When you're deciding how to shorten down a stream, how do you decide what to keep in? Like when you post it somewhere else?
Ooh, good question. I don't really shorten videos. I don't know why I took this, but you take this, Owen.
Yeah, so for Rats, obviously, we did like long streams, and then I basically had to cut out anything that was fluff, no pun intended. It was essentially just looking at what serves the greater story, and if it's not incredibly funny or incredibly cute and it doesn't serve the story, then it had to go, because you have to shorten some of these things into like 17-minute episodes. So yeah, anything else?
Incredibly cute.
Incredibly, yes, because I'm just incredibly cute when I rat.
You watch, I'm just imagining you watching back your VODs going,
okay, oh, me.
I mean, basically, if it's not narratively fulfilling or like funny.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lovely with the gorgeous orange hair. How are you doing? What's your question?
Do you guys have like animatics that you guys like watching, like fan content?
Anything from Veggie Table. They are amazing. But also just anything. If I see anyone make any animatics about anything and I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Honestly, I'm a big fan of fan work, and not just animatics. Like, there's a lot of writers in my community, like so talented that really just inspire. Like, especially like, fan content is so awesome. Please, if you're anyone here that does fan content, keep going. You're incredible. You're awesome, dudes. Like, so cool.
Martin in the Little One and his songs.
Yeah.
In fact, all of the Faction R songs that came out, there was a lot of music that came from Pirates SMP. It was really, really cool to see.
I love all of it. I don't really know how to answer this. I love it. And so just watch all of it all day. I'm watching it now. Sorry.
Thank you so much for your question. Lovely with the glasses. Hi, how are you doing? What's your question?
Hi, guys. My question is, do you have a top
big live disaster moment that comes to mind when I say that? Maybe a quick fire one.
I was doing ASMP with actually Owen, Becky, and Eloise jumped into the lava when Eloise was not meant to, and we all had to roll with it. And you can see me crack in real time because I didn't know what to do. Such a good time.
Anybody else?
During Portals, there was one scene, like a big climax scene, where I jump into this big portal and supposedly it transitions immediately into a different scene, but I died from full damage because I fat-thumbed. Not only did I start Gruce's theme, I don't know if you're familiar with that song, it's a goofy song, so I die, a goofy song plays, my face cam is still on, and I laugh, and then I switch, and the entire fandom was convinced that I died and the rest was like a dream, so I had to be like, no, I'm just stupid, guys, it's okay, he's alive.
Pirate kangaroos.
Yeah, there was a lot of kangaroos in the Pirates of finale, and they caused some issues. Entities are dangerous things in Minecraft.
Yep.
When I first did a pre-recorded stream, I only had a couple of viewers, but I did the whole stream. You put in like the pre-recorded clip, and I had it muted the whole time, and it was just the visuals. I just streamed it again the next day with the audio.
I feel like you learned that lesson once in your career. Yeah. That's like, yeah.
Sorry.
You go, one more.
The finale of the Caboodle SMP, it was 5 a.m. for me, and I fell asleep, and I woke up and it was over, and I'd missed all of the cues I had to do to like run effects and stuff.
And just to wrap it up for outsiders, one time I was streaming with somebody called Beckumon, and she... Oh, hey.
Oh, hey,
you are.
Becky.
And she wasn't where she was meant to be, and it was a very time-sensitive situation, and I thought, oh, well, surely she'll just be here if I run across this clearing. And then for some reason, she set herself into creative and was just flying across the map in full view, completely breaking any kind of fourth wall or immersion, and it was lovely.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Darling with the wonderful hat here. How are you doing? What's your question?
Hi, this question's actually from Aaron Wren and Tufion. They asked what inspires you to keep making events/servers?
Stuff like this.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fandom.
Literally this.
I like making people sad with Minecraft.
I like making people gay with Minecraft.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just like as Chris said, stuff like this, seeing everyone enjoy it and be sad about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Darling with the orange jacket. Hi, how are you doing? What's your question?
If you feel like a story or like a server is like dwindling or like slowly like dying out, like what would you recommend doing?
Meetings.
Yeah, essentially, that's our approach, right? If there was a couple of times in Outsiders where it felt like it was about to like hit the ground, we basically just had to call everybody together and be like, you guys have got to pull up your bootstraps and we have to finish this because we're not letting this story end. Sometimes people aren't going to be as inspired to create as you might be when you're telling your story, but being able to just like kind of manhandle people into being able to finish it is sometimes what you got to do. But it's much more admirable, I think, to attempt to finish a story than let it kind of just like putter out and die.
I agree. Sometimes it naturally fades out. People get busy, have other projects they want to focus on. So if you have people who have characters that can't end, open-end it so they can do whatever they want with their characters. That's what I did with Area Unknown. We couldn't get everyone together for it. So we just had an open ending where everyone went their own ways. And if they want to do stuff with their characters, they can. And if they don't, they can just leave them in the liminal space.
I've never managed an SMP or anything. I've only been a part of them other than Portals. But I got a sudden thought of like, wave 2 of new people to the SMP. Like you see the decline, just like, I got some DMs to make. I got to make a phone call. That's what I would do.
Got you. All right, we've got time for one more question because we've got something else to tell you guys. Hi, how are you doing? What's your question?
Yeah, voice of Cuervo and Gigi Akko's best friend here. I just wanted to ask, when do you plan on adding Kyle F to Pirates SMP?
Next question.
Next question.
Next question, yeah.
No comment. Great. Okay, that's going to wrap us up. What an ending note.
That was the last
However, before we do call it there, super quick fire. We only got a minute, so you guys have to keep this quick. If you have any project that you've got coming up, now is the time to tell all these lovely people about it, starting with you, Crow.
Hello, I have a project/series called Chronicles, which is also a one POV thing, and it's coming out sometime next year. So please be there. Thanks.
I have no idea. I'll find out soon, I'm sure. Cool.
Me and Gucky have got something coming out in 2025 with myself, Gucky, Ollie Hikey Hate Me, and our friend Ozterra. It is going to be very, very interesting.
Lifetime, that's kind of it. Oh, yeah, Rats.
Oh, yeah, Rats.
Oh, yeah, Rats.
Rats 2, baby.
2, baby.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. And finally, can I get a show of hands from our panelists who is going to be happy to wait outside for about 15 minutes for photos? We got a few.
I got time.
We got one.
What time is it now?
It's currently 3.
About 3.
You need to dash.
We've got a meet and
dash.
greet. I'm so sorry.
We got 2 people for photos, so I know we didn't get through all the questions, so if you have them from the last few people, you can just quickly ask them outside the panel room. But can we have one final round of applause, please, for our panelists today?
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your TwitchCon.
Yeah, real quick.